Good morning, fellow safarians, and welcome to our sunrise safari from Djuma Game Reserve. It is a beautiful sunrise that we've just experienced. It's already quite high. As you can see there, it's come up over the horizon, and Senzo and I have just been admiring it over the last 10 minutes. It really has been a beautiful, spectacular rise. And while we've been sitting here, a few hyenas are calling, and our murderous ground hornbills from last night. Now, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I've got Senzo, as I mentioned, and we are coming to you live from the northeastern corner of South Africa, which means hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can get hold of us on the YouTube chat if you want to ask any questions or if you want to say hello from wherever you're watching. Now, the plan is this morning I'm going to quickly shoot down Twin Dams Road. I want to see if maybe our pangolin tracks from yesterday, if there's anything else happening there. I did check there last night on my way home, so for those of you that were wondering, I did have a little look around. I stopped and spotlight and checked. Nothing that I could see, so I want to just go back and see if maybe it was moving around again in the same area, because if it was, then it's a place that we can concentrate a little bit more on over the next few days. Maybe it's found itself a little termite mound where it can sit and stay and basically move from there, because I know the one on Simbambili is in a termite mound and they're seeing it regularly from that mound itself. So I want to just quickly look at that, and then I want to go and see the ground hornbill carcass and see what has fed on it, if it is still there, or if potentially maybe there's some hyenas, or maybe, you never know, something like a honey badger that could be scavenging off it. So I'm going to try and go and have a little look and see if there is any signs of anything lurking around that carcass. Failing that, maybe a bit of hyena den action a little bit later in the day. We'll try and see if we can head in that direction. And what else do we want to do? Maybe our lions will also be around. I haven't heard them this morning. I didn't hear any roaring, which means that I'm sure they are somewhere around, but we will scratch around and see what the day brings us. And while we do that, let's go to Jamie and her view of the Mara.
Welcome to a glorious morning both in South Africa and here in the Masai Mara of Kenya. My name is Jamie. This morning Manu is on camera with me, and it really is a beautiful morning. After a couple of days of rain, the sun is out. Whee, we're sliding. The sun is out, everything's clean, crisp, smells beautiful. A little bit muddy, it smells quite muddy, but wonderful nevertheless. Whee! Okay, maybe I should not be so brazen and just go into low range. And this morning, Manu and I are heading back towards that hyena den that we found last night to go and see what those hyenas are up to. We tried to stay with them after we finished the sunset safari last night, and it was just impossible. It is impossible to keep up with hyenas at night. They don't walk, they just run. It's like trying to follow wild dogs, only there's less of them. And in that terrain, we just couldn't. We found them again by mistake because they were harassing zebra, but after that they escaped us completely. Now don't forget, you can get hold of us on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Let's hope we don't go sliding everywhere. It's not just myself sliding around in the Mara mud. Tayla's out on the other side of the river. Let's go see if her mud is slipperier than mine.
Jamie, it hasn't stopped being slippery. We actually have to keep going over here because our tires are so full of mud that if we stop we might find ourselves in a bit of trouble. So this is alright, yeah. My name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is David. And this is live, this is interactive, this is happening right now. So send through your questions, hashtag Safari Live, or chat to us on the YouTube chat. Now it's very exciting. David and I broke down about 500 times last night trying to get home. We ended up calling it quits. We then also almost got stuck about 500 times. The Talek River is a raging torrent, as Jamie once described the Mulwati. But this time it really is a raging torrent, and we saw it earlier yesterday morning. It was barely trickling downstream, and now it is, well, I reckon you'd probably get washed off of your feet. It's so strong. Who knows where you'd end up. But look at how beautiful it is. Look at the hot air balloons. Now we're going to go sideways for a little bit, and we'll go that way, and then we'll go this way. We're getting covered in mud, so I do apologize if you see mud at the back of my hair or on my jacket. It is very difficult to stay clean. I promise I have showered. Well, Mila, the car, is going to need a shower at some point. Now, our plan is to start heading either side, really. We're not going to go through the south. We know that there's many gremlins there. So we'll just keep going here. Woo, 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 woo. Sorry, Darby. Hold on. It's literally all I think I've been saying is, hold on tight. Here we go. Oh, no. Right, we're going to try and navigate the swamp that Kenya has turned into, and we'll dodge hot air balloons with our aerial and the wildebeest. But we'll see you shortly, and hopefully we'll find some cats. I'm going to send you back across to Tristan to see what his movements are this morning.
Well, my movements have been halted by the beautiful Wahlberg's eagle pair on Wahlberg's Road. You can see the pale form just flew off. I don't know why I said fell, but anyway, flew off, and there's the dark form Wahlberg. So really nice to see the two of them together. It would have been nice if they stuck around slightly longer. We could have got a better look at both of the individuals, but nice to see they're back in their normal spot, already prepping the nest, getting it sorted so that they can start breeding and give that chick the best possible chance to grow and get big enough during the summer period before it has to take that arduous journey back north again. So really nice to see. You can see the little crest, typical of the Wahlberg's eagle, that yellow sear that they've got, and then the long rectangular tail that they end up having. So you can see, look how long and squared off that tail looks in comparison to other eagles, and it's a easy diagnostic feature when you see them from far away. But so cool to have the both of them back now. Sept said to me the other day he saw vultures sitting on this nest, and so I'm super surprised if vultures were sitting here that Wahlberg's eagles are now in this area, because a Wahlberg's eagle is a much smaller bird than a vulture, and it would make no sense that the Wahlbergs chased the vultures away unless the Wahlbergs were just super feisty and the vultures just couldn't be asked. So I think maybe it was a case of mistaken identity. Maybe our pale forms Wahlbergs was here. I don't know. Interesting nonetheless, and I wonder if this is where they're going to end up breeding. They generally breed out of the same nest every year, so I would imagine this is what they're here to do. And I've seen them now. Yesterday when we were on bushwalk, they flew away from us out of this tree just as the show finished, and so now we've got them again this morning. So I definitely think that this nest is where they're going to go again for another year running, which is fantastic news. And it's amazing how we've got a dark form and a pale form together, and I know a lot of you have been wondering whether or not they will breed as different color morphs. Most certainly, as you can see here, the dark form and the pale form will come together, they will form a pair, and they will breed together. What the chick will be is anyone's guess. You get all kinds of different forms of Wahlberg. Sometimes you get a tan colored one, sometimes a dark one like this, sometimes pale, sometimes a tan one with a dark head. So it just depends on the different individuals, and what these two will produce is a bit of a mystery at this stage. But you can see, look how it's looking around. Got quite a relatively small beak for a lot of our eagles out here, and that's because this bird doesn't go after large carcasses. It's generally hunting sirens that fly around here are game for these guys. Sometimes lizards and those kind of things, but generally, like I say, birds is what they're mostly after. And so small beak that doesn't have to worry about getting in between. Well, it can get in between small little bones and be able to get all the meat that they need. But really cool to see them. They, for some of you that don't know, are the first migratory bird that we start to see. Tony Two Toes, you want to know how far north the Wahlberg's eagles go. Well, they go into North Africa, and then some of them even end up getting all the way up into Russia in Europe. So they do go very far north. It's, like I say, an arduous journey as they cover the whole of the African continent and into Europe. It really is a long way. And what amazes me about them is that they'll have a chick here in summer, and this chick will grow up, and by the time it leaves at the end of summer, it flies on its own. It doesn't follow the parents, but yet it's still able to somehow know where to go, and it ends up getting into the right places for the winter months. It really is phenomenal that they're able to do it. Right, well, Wahlbergs have departed, and so we shall depart, and we shall carry on and move southwards in our own accord. James, the next migratory bird to arrive it's a difficult one because there will be quite a few that will arrive at a similar time. So we should start to see the the cuckoos arriving. So Jacobin, Levalence, Classes, Diedrich, they should all start coming in now. And in fact, Ali was telling me she was just up in Kaseri, which is north of us, that she heard a Classes cuckoo calling that side. So they should start coming back now. Then we should start to see European beaters arriving. They should also be early summer, generally are early summer. And then who else comes in after that? Steppe eagles, booted eagles should be already back. Just trying to think of who else would be around at that time. There's so many, and swallows, a lot of the swallows should be arriving shortly. It's like they arrive en masse, all of them at a similar sort of time, and it's because obviously they're following a food source as they come southwards, and so as the rains and as it's warmed up in certain areas, so food sources are becoming more common, and they then start to shift down with it. So swallows, cuckoos, those are the ones I would expect next, the bee-eaters, and then a few of the migratory eagles should start arriving as well. Like I say, steppe eagles generally start arriving also a little bit maybe later in the year. Now, this is the area where I had those pangolin tracks early yesterday, so any little mark across the road I want to just investigate to make sure, but that is not a pangolin track, that is an impala that was pushing itself around, well, not itself, but pushing another one around. So this is where the pangolin track was yesterday. It went across the road like that into these thickets. Let's look around and see. I don't see any sign of it coming back across the road, but we'll just look carefully under all of these bushes, because they sometimes will sit under here and will hide away. Now Lou, if you're talking to me, I can't hear you at the moment. I don't know what's gone wrong with my comms, so I don't know. There we go. There we go, Lou. Now I can hear you again. Sorry, my earpiece is very finicky, Lou. I do apologize. Right. Now, I believe Jamie Patterson, who's probably basking in the glory of the morning Mara light, is on her way to the hyena den, and I know last night she was struggling to keep up with them as they were moving around, so hopefully this morning they'll be a lot more sedate and be at the den and chilling themselves. Now, sorry about that, guys. I got my timing completely wrong, but we will go to Jamie now with the hyena.
Racing along the road that runs parallel to the escarpment so that we can get all the way to the white-browed cuckoo in the sun right next to the road. Please don't fly away, please don't fly away, please don't fly away. Don't fly away, don't fly away. No, 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 no. It's okay, it's okay. Here you go. Thank you very much. White-browed cuckoo. And we've only got a brief opportunity to observe him because there's a tractor that is on its way up behind me to pick up the balloon. Isn't it beautiful? Look at those white flecks across the head. I still haven't seen a black cuckoo. Everyone else has seen a black cuckoo. I haven't seen one. Now you can see some very clear differences hopping about. Very clear differences to the Birchall's cuckoos that you see in the Sabi sands. Particularly, obviously, the white brow. And this is very typical behavior, hiding about in these woolly caper bushes. And there's one off to the right there, Manu, as well. Just see its head poking out above there. There you go, on the right of your screen. There. There you go, number 2. Looking a little chilly this morning, all puffed up. Okay. Tractor's getting closer. We're going to move because otherwise we're going to have to overtake him again. Do birds ever interbreed? It's very unusual, and it's usually basically within subspecies of the same bird. So you don't, one of the things that sort of defines the different species is the fact that they don't breed with each other. And remember, a lot of birds' reproduction is governed by the specific calls that they make. So even 2 little birds that look almost identical to the human eye, unless you are an expert twitcher, They look almost identical, but their songs are completely different to each other. It's plays such a pivotal role in the way that they reproduce that the female won't be attracted to the male and vice versa, because the song's just not right. So while it does happen with certain subspecies, it doesn't happen with, say, the different rollers. A lilac-breasted roller won't breed with a European roller. You might find it happens in artificial situations, but that's artificial. That's when humans have forced them together. Just like you get hybrids of various cat species. So no, it doesn't really happen in the wild. I can't believe the Wahlbergs are already back in South Africa. This year has flown past, like the Wahlbergs did. Didn't even stop off here, just flew straight on past us. Something smells foul enough to not be a carcass, but to be lion scat or something like that. Did you smell that, Manu? Yeah. Quite pervasive. Lions? How's that? I smelled lions. Yes. Thank you very much. Oh man, I wish moments like that happened more often. I really, really do. How did you find lions this morning? Oh, well, you know, just sniffed. I knew it was fresh lion scat. Here comes the cubs. Sausages! Let's go get closer to them. Robin, just give me one second. This isn't going to be easy. As chuffed as I am with myself, I've given myself a rather difficult task here in the mud. Which lions are these? There's 3. No, it's just one of the big sausage cubs. Okay, I think we can do it here. Hold on, Manu. Hold on. This could be interesting. Up. We go. Okay, so Robin's question while we make our way towards the lions is, how do we feel when we see a kill? And the answer is, I don't think you ever really get used to it. Why is she running? Where is she running to? She's running after a jackal. Ah, it's gone already. Happened so quickly. I don't think you ever get used to it. I don't think it's ever particularly pleasant. I always struggle with my human emotions, even though I absolutely understand it's a necessity, it's something that has to happen. The cat's got to eat, or the predator's got to eat, it doesn't have to be a cat. It's always much easier to handle, especially if you see there's cubs, especially if they're hungry, there's a male over there. Everybody's on a mission. Hello, sausages. But no, I don't find that I ever get completely used to it. Sometimes I struggle. And as I said, it's much easier when it's quick. When it's something big like a buffalo and it takes forever, I find it much harder to handle. It's just one of those things. But I guess in a way, we're accustomed to it. And I just keep telling myself that, you know, yeah, it's nature's way. Nature's far more experienced at these sorts of things than I am. She knows what she's doing. I struggle far more. Oh, lo! Oh my goodness, have you had a nice meal? By any chance? Have you been munching? I struggle more with things like the wildebeest drowning each other. When the wildebeest crossings that we watched, when the wildebeest were just drowning, I really did struggle with that. There's my little girl, my little pale lioness over there, with the belly on her that makes her look double the size. And this looks like Fang, but I'm not 100... Oh! What's happening over there? Sorry, let's just go and have a look here. Lioness is in high spirits. She was chasing a bird of prey, but unfortunately it has disappeared. There, Manu, off to the left, quite far. Further to the left. There, that lioness. She was bounding about there. And the lapwings were bombing some sort of bird of prey. I couldn't see what it was, and the lioness went for it. I wonder if they've got a kill over there. Sorry, I know I was talking about the male. Yep, there's the jackal. They must have a kill. That must be what they're looking at. I think one of the birds came down to scavenge. Timo, you say that cub looked very bloated. It's going to go and try and play with the male. Didn't it? In fact, they couldn't look more round-bellied if they tried. I know many of you have heard the story of the French research student that I was helping with her research. I was helping her to find lions, and she once said to me, that cub is just a belly with legs, and it stuck with me. I always think of her whenever I see cubs with bellies like that. Thank you very much, James Richard, saying happy Catterday. Happy Catterday to you too. I'm quite seriously impressed with my olfactory abilities. That worked out very fortuitously. Okay, let's go catch up with them. We've got a beautiful sighting playing out here, so I'm just going to reposition so that, little cubs, we can get all the cubs playing, we can have a look at what they've been eating, something large, I gather. Let's go see how the male interacts with the females, because I haven't seen much interaction with the sausages and their dominant coalition. It's the same coalition, the Chitwa males, that are dominant over the Angamas. Hey, sausages. I have such a soft spot for this Lion Pride. They've provided me with so many magical moments. How beautiful is this? Cubs, males. Beautiful. Well done, girl. You were busy last night, I guess. Manu, you do realize that we spent probably about 2 hours in this area yesterday afternoon looking for them here. This always happens to me with the sausages. Look at the little cubs having a game. Lioness at the back covering the stomach contents. Ava, who is one of our regular 6-year-old viewers. Good morning, Ava. Ava, you want to know why is it that the male lions have fluffy manes, but the females don't get to have them? And the answer to that is because the males live very competitive lives. In other words, they have to fight with each other a lot, whether it's to get a territory or to be able to be the fathers of little cubs like these ones playing right here. And so the big mane, fluffy around his head and his neck, helps to protect the male lion when he's fighting with other males. So the neck and the head, those are the most fragile parts of that particular lion. So it basically helps him to protect himself. And at the same time, it says to all the other male lions, when he's got a big mane of hair, it says, I'm the biggest, healthiest thing out here, and you don't want to pick a fight with me. But the problem with having a mane is that it's kind of hot. Now, I don't know You must have worn a scarf in winter. You know how it keeps your neck warm, but sometimes it gets too hot after a while. That's what it's like having a mane, except they can't take it off. So the females don't have manes, which is why they have a little bit more stamina. They can run for a bit longer. They don't get as hot because they're lighter, and they're not wearing a scarf round their heads and their necks the entire time. What you got? Zebra leg, zebra leg! Okay, well, we know what they ate. I didn't do it while we watch our little pale cub bound about. You want to know if she'll get darker with age? Yes, I think she probably will. Let's wait and see. I think that she'll always be slightly paler than the rest of them, but she really, in certain light, she really is incredibly distinctive. You can't mistake her. The others are so much more golden than she is. Here she comes. She's going to come popping out, and she's going to get pounced on by an older cousin. She's grown so much while I've been away. She's caught up. Where's the tiniest one in the group? Just goes to show, never have a plan. Yes, go get that zebra leg. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. You're feisty enough. Go get the zebra leg. That's it. Practice those hunting skills. Female in the back, still methodically covering the stomach contents. There we go, there we go. Get it! Oh, no, don't. Come on, you can do it. That's it. Be clever. Use a distraction technique. Not quite large enough to challenge the older cousin. Flop. Fine. Another regular young viewer who is Mita, who's 8 years old. Mita, you want to know how many cubs there are? There are 4 cubs with these 2 females of the sausage tree pride. So 2 of them are slightly older, 2 of them are slightly younger, and it's the younger group that the pale cub belongs in, so the younger pair. And she's a little female, and her brother is, well, a little male. There you go, you might have guessed that from the word brother. And then there's 2 females. Oh, let's go back to them quickly because they're playing so nicely for us, and that's not going to continue with those bellies. Come on, go back and get your zebra leg. So there are 4 cubs in total, 2 lionesses, and then there's also 1 male lion, but he's fast asleep, so we'll watch the cubs playing for now. Bellies full of zebra. And scenes like this make seeing a hunt that much easier. Rebecca! Get him! Rebecca, no, I don't think the pale female's going to have a harder time surviving just because she's lighter. I know that we mentioned the fact that leucism and albinism out here is not an easy thing for the animals to, or basically, survive with due to the sun and the fact that they stick out so clearly. But for a lion, and she's not leucistic or albinistic in any way, shape or form, so for a lion, she will be absolutely fine. She's really not that pale. She's just noticeably paler than the others. And it won't be enough to hamper her camouflage. It won't be enough to make her skin more sensitive to the sun. Sun is not a word. Sun. So no, I'm not concerned in that respect. I think she'll be absolutely fine. Plus, she's a lady. She's a female in a pride, which means that her whole life, most likely, she will have, if not a completely secure existence, at least have... Yay! Clever girl. Oh, what happened? What happened? Did you lose your leg? Clever, clever girl. Okay, let's go around, watch the cubs playing. I'm sorry, I know. I can't help being on her side. That was so sneaky. Nobody else wants to come and join us, Manu. Decided it's too much effort to get off-road here. Oh, she lost it. Well, it was a valiant effort. It was a valiant effort. Well done, girl. Yes, play King of the Castle. Use height to your advantage. Go on. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, while our little pale lioness pounces around and tries to win back the game of Get the Zebra Leg, let's go find out if Tristan's morning has been as exciting.
Well, my morning is going well. I've got tracks for male and female leopard going up and down in the area, and I was walking and something shot in front of me, but it was such a thicket that I couldn't see exactly what it was. I thought it was a leopard just by the sort of motion that it had, and now I just can't seem to find where it's gone. It was running sort of just off the Mulawati into a thicket, and I've tried off-roading a little bit, but nothing at this stage. So I'm just kind of meandering my way along, but they definitely have been up and down in this area. I don't know, it looks to me maybe like Tundi and Tumba's tracks. They also defecated in this, and the defecation is still very soft, so I think it's somewhere in this area. I've just got to now find whoever it is that is tormenting me, but their tracks are all over Chelapan and the Mulawati, so I don't know if maybe they've got a kill here somewhere. It's possible. I'm just going to have a little look again and just check one more time through those thickets and see if I manage to find them, but there's definitely something that was not happy, and it was right on the tracks that I was following. So I was walking on a young male leopard track, and all of a sudden something in front of me got up and shot off. And the leopards have quite a heavy sound when they run away from you, a lot heavier than you would think. Now I'm going to try to see if we can get up here. Come on, Wendy. So Wendy's being difficult on the hill. She's, come on, let's go, come on. There we go. So Wendy's up. So somewhere here I think is a leopard. I've just got to try and work out a way to get to where I think it is. And if it was a leopard and it saw me, Tundi would have stayed where she was. She would have growled and hissed at me generally, and she would have just stayed exactly where I would have spotted her. But Tumba, on the other hand, he might be a little bit more nervous of what's going on, and he might have gotten up and just moved off a little bit. And now, with the kind of being seen, they often then take an approach where they'll lie down and they'll try and just hide. So they'll go down as flat as possible and keep their ears down just to make sure that we can't see them. So that's why we have to scan very carefully under all of these bushes. And these tracks come from where the dead hornbill is, so I wonder if maybe they didn't snack on that last night. I'll go to check where that hornbill is just now. I just got sidetracked completely by these tracks and this fresh dung that I found. And this is an area where we had Tingana the other day, so I'm just trying to loop around and see. The thing is that whatever it was, I mean, I was maybe 5 seconds from the car, so I just got back into the car and came here, and I would have imagined if it was an antelope of some sort, I would have found the antelope here, just kind of staring in my direction. Also, it wasn't a typical way that it ran, and I can see there's tracks for this leopard everywhere here. There's male leopard tracks all over, young male, so I'm sure it's Tumba that's in this section. I've just got to try and see where he's ran to. Right, now I'm going to just check in front here. There's a really dense thicket, and maybe this leopard is hiding out inside here. So this is where I'm going to have a little look about and see what's going on. Now, let's see. No, I don't see any sign of a leopard down this way. So, right, I'm going to check around this thicket and meander and see what I can find. And while we do that, let's go back to Miss McCurdy and the Mara, meandering through the plains.
Because there are a couple of crossing points. However, that will not be happening today. I'm not too concerned about the height of the water in the river. That's okay, that's fine. You just got to keep going. What my concern is the steep slopes on the opposite side of the river that are almost like that and are just sloshed with churned up mud. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get up the other side. So instead of slipping and sliding and getting stuck and wrecking all the broadcasting equipment, we decided to give it a skip, edge on the side of caution, and we're actually going to head back down towards the Kruger Bridge, which is all the way in the south. Hello birdies! Birds are absolutely loving all the rain, because it has turned a lot of these areas into wetlands. So I think the bird sightings are going to be amazing. We should see greater painted snipes moving into some of these areas, maybe even the spoonbills wading in some of the deeper water. Of course, the grey herons, the cattle egrets. I saw a greater cattle egret 2 or 3 mornings ago, I can't remember. It was quite nice. But yes, it's been it's adventurous. We might do a bit of sliding here, so I apologize if I don't concentrate on you. We're going to do some serious. Wee! Yeah, it's very wet out here. I don't know what we're going to do in the rainy season. This is not even the rainy season yet. We get a bit of rain in November from what I understand, but we're in September and we're having all of this. And April and May is going to be disastrous. I think that we should opt and leave the vehicles and then maybe get some boats instead. Actually, I think we need to go this way. I think we should get boats, hey? Jarvi, more corals? And we can just sort of wade along the roads, the same routes which we normally would drive. David says yes, please. He's going to go and get his dive license just for that. Now, seeing as though the sky is sort of littered with these beautiful hot air balloons, there's a question from Anna Marie, and it is if I've ever been in a hot air balloon. I haven't, not yet. I will. I have to. I really want to. I think it would be amazing. So I'm hoping to get the opportunity to. I'm going on leave soon, so I'll see what I can, well not soon, at the end of the month. I'll see what I can try and organize, and if I can hop onto a balloon, it'll be very nice. And it's quite an expensive adventure, as you can imagine. Skydiving, bungee jumping, hot air ballooning over the Masai Mara. They're not exactly the cheapest things, but I reckon if you come and do a safari holiday out here, you better splurge. And I think it would be well worth it. But we'll keep pushing through these open plains. Hopefully we'll find some leopards or cheetah or... Oh, hang on, we've got hyenas. Okay, we're going to sit you with the hyenas. I'm going to send you across to Jamie because she's got playful sausages.
Very playful sausages that are soon going to be very sleepy sausages, so we'll take full advantage of this moment while we can. For a moment, fortune favoured the persistent, and our little pale cub managed to be the owner, or brief possessor, of the zebra leg, but she went and provoked a fight with her older cousin, and now she's lost it. Oh, nobody's got energy but you, little one. Everyone else wants to sleep. Yeah, I'm picking a fight with somebody much bigger than you. Is she reaching? She's just going to harass that older cousin until it leaves the zebra leg alone. There you go. You've got it back. It's yours now. For now, at least. Oh, not that much fun when nobody's challenging you for it, is it? Now it's just a bit boring. Everyone wants to go to sleep. You want to play. Oh, fine. This is such a beautiful way to start a morning. And the nice thing is they should be here for the rest of the day. Our OD farming, while we watch our lions and we watch our cubs, let's reposition actually, so that we can see more of them than the ones we've got. And you want to know what the pride structure is of lions. So the important thing to remember when we're talking about pride structure, the important thing to remember when we're talking about pride structure, Ah, playing cubs. They always take themselves off behind another bush or something. Is that a pride is a group of females, essentially, and their offspring. So there might be young males with them, and that's because that's their cubs that have slowly but surely grown up. And then they have a territory, and they hunt and they look after their cubs. And there's no real hierarchy, although often sort of the older, more experienced lionesses will be the ones that decide exactly which way the pride is going to go. But essentially they're exceptional at teamwork. And then there is a group of dominant males, perhaps one, but usually more than one, that has a territory that encompasses the territory of the pride. And the males will mate with the females, they'll come and visit them, they'll come and share a kill, just like what we've got at the moment with this one male who's come to join the sausages, and then they'll move off. And they'll leave the lionesses to get on with things, they'll move off and go and patrol their territory, and they'll go and visit a different lion pride. So pride structure is female-based with the sort of an assortment of cubs of different ages. Usually you'll find that the cubs are similar in age, just because that makes sense for the way that lionesses raise their cubs. They allo-suckle each other's cubs, so they won't just suckle their own cubs. Oh, excuse me. My nose is overwrought from all the hard work it's put in this morning. Okay. Right, let's try a reposition once again. It's a bit of a tricky spot. The sausages are not... They're comfortable with vehicles, but they've got a very clear personal space boundary. The cubs are fine. They'll come right up to us, but the lionesses do not. And they've got a very clear... This is our space. And if you... Obviously, we never ever want to make the animals feel uncomfortable. We spoke about the fact, there we go, I think this is actually quite a good spot, we can see all of the lions from here. We spoke about the fact that lionesses, or lion prides, have territories. Oh, she's going to go harass the male now. And Ethne was wondering if lion prides ever have rivalries. Well, they have neighbours. So, yes, in a way that might count as a rivalry. Obviously, there are lion territories, and territory boundaries are not set in stone, they're fluid. Typically lion prides are quite good at avoiding each other, so all that roaring that happens during the night, that's their way of basically saying, we're here, this is our land, and you should probably stay away from it. And they very seldom encounter each other. It does happen though, and when they do encounter each other, they do fight. And they can fight quite seriously at times, especially if resources are limited, or if they have cubs and they're feeling particularly protective. So I guess you could call that rivals. I mean, I suppose if you were to write a story, we could say that the sausages and the Angamas are arch rivals. They live next door to each other. Not really how it works. I mean, they're not arch rivals. You might even find at this proximity they might be related distantly down the line. But if they were to come into contact with each other, they probably would have a scrap. Michael, I'm as confused about that as you are. So, we know that we've got the two lionesses with the cubs, and then we know that there are other lionesses a little bit further down the escarpment, and we suspect that they're part of the sausage tree pride, because when we first got here we were told that the sausage tree pride has 5 females and 4 cubs. Now Michael's wondering, well, why don't the lionesses of the two different factions of the sausage tree pride spend more time together? I don't know. It might be that there was a split. It might be that it's because these lionesses have cubs. You know how typically when lionesses have cubs, they tend to limit the amount that they move. They don't cover their entire home range. Maybe it's that, but I have to be honest, I'm baffled by that, if they are in fact part of the same pride. The fact that we never, ever, ever have seen them together. But we've only been here for 3 months. We're still getting to grips with the various lion factions and prides and territories, and I don't think we fully know exactly what's going on. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. It could be that those other lionesses are not sausages at all. For all we know, it could be that these are not sausages at all. This is what these lionesses we've been told are the sausage tree pride. And obviously I'm not going to argue with people or guides that have been here for years and years. Oh, little cub. Our pale cub has finally settled down, and it seems like Tristan, over the last 2 days, has been spending a great deal of time with a very endangered bird.
I have been spending a great deal of time, and look at this, they're back on that carcass feeding again. So there is more than just the one. The rest of the flock seems to be a lot more skittish than this individual. But look, they're still hammering away at this carcass, and I'm surprised. I would have thought they would have left it and moved on, but they are still going at it and still feeding off it, which is quite amazing. I'm super surprised by all of this. And so I did a bit of research yesterday and spoke to a few people about it, and wanted to just check and understand a little bit more about this. Now, basically what's happening is we are going into our the breeding season for these hornbills, as I was talking about yesterday. And what's happened is that at this time, the alpha pair within the flock becomes highly territorial. And so what it looks like is it looks like a young male. So the bird itself, we sexed it as a young male, and it looks like a young, about 5 years old. So that would be about the age that they start moving, potentially to try and find a flock of their own to be able to breed with. And so what it looks like is this bird has come and has come into an area where it shouldn't be, and the alpha pair has then attacked it and killed it. Now, the eating of it, apparently they often see females eating and cannibalizing their young ones that have died. So it is possible that they eat it, but it's highly unusual that they're killing and eating an intruder. That's where it is very strange and very weird. And so I'm parked very far away at the moment, because what I don't want to chase them off. I just want to see how long they feed and if the rest start to come back. It is an insane thing to have witnessed this. And the guys that I spoke to and all the researchers, they were quite excited about it all, and really also a little bit puzzled by the behavior. So it is an incredible thing. You can see there it actually is feeding off bits of it. So I don't really know why they've come back. I would have thought they would have left it, but they are definitely proving a point. Laura, most of it is pecking, but they are eating as well. You'll see every now and then they throw a little piece up into the air and they kind of consume it. So they are still feeding off it, but most of it is pecking. I think a lot of it is a display, as they are asserting themselves as the dominant pair in this particular section. And that calling that we heard earlier was yesterday was to try and contact the rest, as well as to make sure that they are in full territorial mode, that this is our area. And it's much like, there you go, you can see it feeding there. When it opens its beak and throws its head up, that's when it's actually pecking off bits of meat and eating it. So it is an incredible sight to see. And I am flabbergasted that they are still here and have come back. That is the crazy thing. Like, it's one thing to kill a bird and eat a bit of it and then move off, but the fact that they've come back again the next morning and they're kind of finishing the job is really quite something. So it is an incredible display from these guys, and I'm sure it's sending a very strong message to even those that are within the flock not to challenge them, as this is what will happen if you do. So it's all a territorial thing. It's much the same as male lions coming in and killing cubs, or male lions killing young intruders that come in. This is the exact same story, just in the ground hornbill world, and it's not very well documented at all. There is no kind of videos about it that I could find. It's just hearsay and a few carcasses that have been found here and there of birds killing, but actually not consuming. And I want to know how much they've consumed, so I'm going to leave them to feed for a while. You can see it's just getting rid of a bit of meat off the beak there. So I want to leave them to consume it and to try and kind of have their fill during the morning, and I'll come back later in the morning to try and see how much is left of that carcass. Unfortunately, still no sign of that leopard that we saw on foot. I can't find it. I don't know where it ran to, so I will go back. I'm just going to give the area a bit of a break so that maybe that individual just calms down and I can then kind of find it in amongst those thickets again. I'm sure wherever it is, it's scared of, after seeing me, if it's especially a young male, it might have just run into a thicket and is now just sitting and watching. But the interesting thing about that individual is I must have walked past it 3 or 4 times because I was walking up and down, and it's only when I was actually following its tracks going straight towards it did it actually run. Prior to that, it was fairly relaxed and fairly chilled and didn't really worry too much about us at all. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Twin Dams, and then I'll come back slowly, and then I might try and go down a little bit that we can get a bit closer to those ground hornbills, because from here it really is very far away and the chance of us seeing what's going on nicely is not great. So I want to try and reposition ourselves a little bit and see if the rest of the flock also comes back, because as I arrived I saw 2 disappear around the corner and just this one that stays, and it's exactly like what we saw yesterday with these birds, is that the rest of the flock seems to be a lot more sort of nervous than what this individual is that we see there. So Maggie, you're asking, should we call this hornbill Hannibal Hector? Well, it would be nice, except that this hornbill that we're seeing feeding there is a girl, so we can't call her Hannibal Hector. We'll have to come up with another name for her. Hannibal Hillary? Maybe Lou, I'm not sure. What about Hannibal Helga? Hannibal Helga the hornbill. That sounds better. Hannibal Helga, there we go. So our new name for our alpha female of our hornbill flock is Hannibal Helga. So there we go. Hannibal Helga is now consuming one of her own at a rate of knots at this stage, and I'm very surprised hyenas didn't go down there. With the smell of that tortoise in the air and 2 carcasses quite close, I would have thought hyenas would have gone there, particularly because there's hyena tracks on the road here, exactly where I drove yesterday, so they are on top of my tracks. So it's surprising to me that they haven't gone and scavenged that and fed off it, but maybe they did and they just didn't like the taste of it and moved off. But that would be surprising for hyenas, because they eat anything and everything, so I would be very surprised if they were like that. Right, so let's see what's lurking at Twin Dams before I go back to our hornbills and try and get a closer view of what's happening there. Now, my comms seem to be playing up again. I know that I'm going to have to link at some point, but because the delay is so long, I suppose I can fiddle until I hear Lou again, which will hopefully be sometime very soon. No, apparently my comms don't want to work at all. Senzo, you're going to have to tell me what's going on. There we go. Welcome back, Lou. So, right, let's go across. I'm not sure who you're going to, if it's Tayla or Jamie, but either way, I'm sure they'll be happy to see you.
Beautiful view with
Well, whoever we went to didn't actually have reception as well, and so between my comms and their reception, it's going to be a fine morning. But welcome back anyway. We still have Twin Dams, just checking around, seeing if there is any sign of anything here. At the moment, nothing. I'm pretty sure our leopards are where... I think our leopards are where I left them. I'm sure that's where Tundi and Tamba are. The tracks look just like the 2 of them, so I'm sure that's where they're hanging out. I don't think they're on this side of the world. I'll check just to make sure in case, but I'm pretty sure they've gone up. Now, for those of you wondering how Hosanna is doing after the Tamba Hosanna incident, well, Hosanna is just fine. Apparently he was seen yesterday on Little Gari around Treehouse Dam, and he was perfect, no signs of scratches or scars, no limping, no anything. So it seems as though the 2 ended it amicably and there was no sign of any injuries between them, which is fantastic news. So Hosanna was that side of the world. No updates yet on our mating pair from yesterday. I think they're still MIA at the moment. Michael, you're asking if I would be able to see Tundi's limp in her tracks. Yes and no. It depends on how she was moving. So I was watching her the other afternoon when we were following her. When she was focused on something, she was walking almost perfectly and there would have been no discernible difference in her tracks. But when she's kind of just ambling and taking it easy... Huh? There you see leopards. Well done. There is a leopard Senzo, you look at the tail just through. Yay! And Senzo says he can see more than one, so there is two here. In fact, that is correct. So they were where we thought they were. Now, who are you? It looks like our mating pair. Is it our mating pair? It looks like them. It does look like Kuchava and Tingana. So that's who seems to be here. Now, this is very interesting. This is not the same tracks of the leopards I saw earlier. Is that Kuchava? Yes, it is Kuchava. So it's Kuchava and Tingana, again, the mating leopards, which is fantastic news. And like I say, the tracks that I had earlier is not for these two. The tracks I had earlier is for Tundi and Tamba, I'm sure of it, but this is definitely our mating pair. How cool is this, guys, that they're on Djuma and Mobile North? So we're not even going to lose them. We're going to have them all to ourselves because everybody else is tracking lions up in the north. So Kuchava makes her debut on Djuma. This is the first time that she's been on this side of the world. So interesting, though, if they go north and carry on going, wonder what's going to happen if they bump into Tundi and Tamba. Maybe they'll sniff them out for us and we'll get a quadruple leopard sighting. Can you imagine that? And the interesting part about it would be, because this is Tundi's daughter, what the reaction would be between all four of them as they went along. But how beautiful is that? That is as good as it gets. So our leopard luck carries on. I don't know really how to sort of express this. We're just getting so lucky at the moment. It really is ridiculous. We've been seriously fortunate. And you can see Kuchava's demeanor today is very different to yesterday. Look at how she's looking around. She's a lot more nervous, and that's because she knows she's way out of her territory. This is the first time she's probably ever walked on Twin Dams Road, and so she's sticking close to Tingana. She's watching us quite a bit. She's a little bit more nervous as to what's going on. So it is really quite incredible to watch her behavior and to see how she is. You see, look how she's watching me. So she's not 100% sure about who I am and why in this area there's a vehicle. So yesterday she was completely at home with the vehicles, didn't worry at all. Today a little bit more sort of circumspect and a bit more nervous as to what's going on. But this is amazing, guys. This is so cool. Chances of us finding these two just randomly like this is just absolutely incredible. And like I say, if they keep going north, who's to say they're not going to bump into the others? But I do need to radio this because obviously I can't hide the sighting from the others, so I will radio it in. Tax. Now Tax seems to be the only one that can actually hear me this morning, so I'll try to get hold of him. Not that anybody is actually answering me at this stage. Seems like they don't want to know about leopards. If any stations can copy me, no, somebody's on the radio, I just can't hear them, so that's why I can't get hold of them. Maybe at some point I will be able to. There we go. Station, just an update. I've got these Fakapart Ingwes. No, still not. The radio doesn't want to work. It seems it's going to be a tech-fueled day today, so I'll try again just now and hope for the best. But you know what's going to be a crazy? It's going to be these two leopards are going straight to where that ground hornbill kill is, and I wonder what's going to happen. Wonder if they're going to stalk those ground hornbills and try and run in, or if they're going to feast on that carcass. Can you imagine how cool that's going to be? So they are heading directly to that point. They literally are following the path that's going to bump them into those hornbills. So it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to take place when these two spot those hornbills. We're going to have a very unique situation and a crazy sighting if they do go into that area. The problem is that for me to follow them to that point is going to be quite tough. So I'm going to try and see if I can follow them. Sorry, my girl, are you still a bit wary of where you are? And rightly so, you need to be wary. You're out of your territory by a long way. But females will do this. Females will often move way out following a male. And yesterday I said it. I wonder if these leopards are not going to move and her follow Tingana into Djuma. And so this is what happens, is that they're so keen to mate that they'll even follow a male leopard. But she knows also that the male leopard generally will distract any female that sees her, and she can then sneak around in this area. They've changed course slightly now, so they're getting more away from the hornbills again. Although, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. I reckon we are on a collision course, and maybe they're going to hear the hornbills, or they're going to smell the tortoise or the hornbill carcass, and they're going to go that way. Imagine if we get Tingana picking up a ground hornbill with the wings out. That'll be just the most ridiculous picture. Look. You see, he's stopped now. He's listening. He's changed his demeanor all of a sudden. He's heard something, and maybe he's picked up that scent. Both of their tails are moving quite a bit as though they've seen something, so I wonder what it is that's up ahead. But how cool is that, those two leopards walking together? It doesn't get any better than this. Now, I'm going to try on the radio. It seems as though nobody's talking. Is any station copy me? Interesting. Seems like no one can hear me. If any stations can copy me, I've got these mating leopards mobile north on Twin Dams Road, Tingana and Kuchava. Hey firm, they're just heading up towards Elephant Skull, Twin Dams Junction. You can make your way. Please just control the lineup as well. I'm going to be live. So there we go. We've at least let those. That's crazy. The guy that I just spoke to on the radio tells me that there's a honey badger in front of his vehicle on Gallagher Shortcut. As he speaks, he said it just popped up on the road and is running in front of him, which is pretty crazy. So our leopards, you can see, are stopping, listening. The breeze that is blowing is actually blowing in the right direction for them to smell this tortoise, because it's blowing from slightly northeast towards the southwest, which is where they are. So it's going to be interesting to see if they pick it up. He's definitely smelling and picking up some sort of sign of something. Their tails are very expressive, and he keeps kind of wagging his tail a little bit and as though he's spotted something. They're walking quite circumspectly. They're looking. You can see she's marching on and off the road. So interesting behavior at this stage. Now, what amazes me is this morning, and why I laugh about this is because I called in leopard tracks. Nobody was interested in my leopard tracks or coming to help me, but now I hear that there's about 12 people that want to come see these leopards, which is just goes to show you sometimes people are like that. They don't really know what they want to do, and it can be a bit frustrating, but we're going to carry on following them anyway. If they weren't interested in helping tracking, then, well, we're going to just enjoy our leopards for ourselves. Please don't go that way, Kuchava, because if they go in that way, that's the way I had to follow Tundi the other day. It was a delightful experience. Poor Wendy, I think, is still surviving. We know that our earpieces didn't survive that thicket that we went into, so let's hope Tingana drags her just along the road as we go up and in towards Twin Dams, because I know his route generally is Twin Dams, and I wonder how far he's going to march her into Djuma, because he's taking her deep now, and it's going to be very interesting to see how she reacts. Look, he's smelling. He's definitely picked up the scent of those ground hornbills. You see, he's going straight in that direction now. I wonder if he's now picked up, and as he comes over the hill, he's going to have the surprise on those hornbills. They're not going to know he's coming, because he's going to have the height advantage, as well as him being so stealthy. He's going to be able to get up there and not have any sort of issue to be able to stalk them. And there goes Kuchava. She's wondering what's going on, and also crossing over, and she's going to pick up Tundi's scent shortly, because Tundi was all over that area 2 nights ago. I wonder if she'll recognize it as her mother. It might be quite interesting. I know that they have been seen together once or twice, and they've chased one another, so I would imagine that would be the same situation again. But they are striding straight towards, you can see Tingana's going straight towards where that ground hornbill carcass is. So I'm going to try just get into a position where I can see them but not disturb them too much, because I don't want the ground hornbills to run. But the ground hornbills theoretically are straight in front, and you can see, look, Tingana's nose, he just keeps lifting it and smelling, so he's picking up exactly where that carcass is. He knows, he's striding straight towards that area. Let's go forward and see if the ground hornbills are still there. This is going to be so cool if they go in that direction. Of course, like I say, I don't want to scare the hornbills, so I'm trying to stay as clear of them as possible, but I also want to get a view that we can see and not disturb them. Now, I know I've left the leopards behind slightly. That's okay. We'll find them again fairly quickly. It's not an issue. That's the one nice thing of having 2 individuals, but I just want to get into a position where we're giving space to the hornbills as well as the leopards, and we'll be able to see nicely from up here. It's going to be similar to what we saw with the hornbills earlier, but at least we'll be able to get a really decent view of what's going on without probably disturbing anyone, I think. I don't know. I'm going to try. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult because of the terrain here. That side, Senzo. Okay, so that's not going to work from here. So as soon as you can see, Senzo, let me know. Luckily, I can also get down this bank. I've done it before, so we'll be able to get down if we need to. But there we go. Are the hornbills there? No, the hornbills aren't there anymore. Okay, if the hornbills are not there, then we can quickly go back that side and try and get down and follow the leopards. If the hornbills were there, it would have been an interesting thing, but they're not there anymore, so our leopards are obviously just going to walk down and they're not going to stalk anything, so I'll try and follow them down rather. It's going to be easier to keep up with them that way. The reason why I didn't want to go down is because I would have scared the hornbills off, and then the leopards would have had a tough time of trying to find, well, not trying to find, but to stalk those animals, and I didn't want to have a situation where we lost either one of them in terms of us influencing what was going on. Here the leopards are, they're right here in front of me, so it wasn't too difficult to find them again. There's Tingana slowly ambling down. Tingana, hello boy, what you doing? He looks as though he's looking down into the riverbed. Maybe the hornbills are still here. I can't see, but you can see his body language is that he's staring. Oh, there's Kuchava. That's why he's looking down. Look, she wants to mate. She is a beautiful female, though. Isn't she? Now, I wonder, like I say, if she's going to start staking the claim to the Chitwa territory, and we're going to see a lot more of her. Now, Tingana's going to go straight towards that tortoise. That's where he's headed. We're right in line with it. The smell is delightful, as I always mention with these tortoises. So he's gone in that area. And the hornbills are still here. They're running away. So the hornbills have just run away. They're also still here. So let's get down there and see if we can get the action between these two. How crazy is this? There goes a hornbill flying, another hornbill flying. Oh, the hornbills are clever. They've just gone up into the tree, so they're just above me here, and they've gone in that direction. But let's see if the leopards go down to this carcass. Interesting though, the tortoise is gone. So the tortoise is here in the road and has been pecked at by these hornbills. The hornbills have fed off the tortoise, cleaned that up quite quickly, and now where have our leopards gone? They were here. Tingana was coming straight down. Can you see them, Senzo? They're here. So they've just gone straight past it. They haven't fed on it like I thought they might. They're trying to actually mate instead at the murder scene. It's all a bit macabre, but look, there she's running in front of him to try and mate with him. But he's not interested too much. Tingy, what's wrong? Have you had a long night of mating instead? Sorry, Senzo, I'm getting in the way a little bit. But I'm surprised they didn't go after the carcass at all. I thought they would have come down and maybe picked it up and just looked, but it seems as though he's not interested. I was hoping he was going to pick it up and we could get that shot of him with the ground hornbill in his mouth. How cool would that have been if we had seen that? That would have been absolutely amazing. But he's still there. I'm just trying to think where I'm going to go. No, they've decided they're going to leave this alone. You can see the hornbill is being absolutely hammered by these guys. Its beak is completely off now. So for those that are a bit squeamish, don't look now. That's what the hornbill has been rendered into. It's still fairly whole, but you can see how the beak is broken off. They've picked at most of the meat around there. They've really started to clean that up. Lots of flies as well. So an amazing scene. Now, Senzo, I'm going to try and just keep up with our leopards because as much as the ground hornbill is interesting, we did get a good view of it yesterday, and our leopards are moving, and this area is an area I can lose them very quickly, but they're mobile north, right towards where I have those tracks. They're going to pick up those tracks fairly shortly because her tracks came from this direction, so soon they're going to pick up that scent and we're going to have them moving in this area. But how cool is this? Look, they're at eye level with us, or in fact above eye level, striding away on the bank. It's quite a weird angle to see a leopard. It's different to normal. It's something odd about being lower than them. That makes them far more impressive and bigger. But there they go. So I'm going to try get round and just keep up with them in this thicket. But isn't this just the most ridiculous morning? We're just having the most amazing time in weird sightings. Unusual, strange, absolutely odd. ground hornbills, leopard, ground hornbill, carcass, dead tortoise. It doesn't get really too much better than what we've experienced already this morning. So hopefully it will just continue and our luck will carry on the way it has been. Now, I think they should come out somewhere in this general vicinity. Let's try and get up here and try not to break any more earpieces over the next little bit, because I lost one here the last time. So we're going to check this area. Now, I don't know if I've lost Lou already, because she did say that I should be linking Tayla with some hyena pool party. There we go. So I can just intermittently get Lou at the moment. But can you hear her, Senzo? No, Lou, I don't have you at all. I've lost you completely. I'm trying to fiddle with my earpiece, because the earpiece is what is the problem, and the connection at least. So I'm trying to fiddle to get Lou back so I can hear a count, because otherwise it's a bit of a mess. There we go, Lou, I've got you again. So that's at least, hopefully he's going to stay. There we go. Alright, so leopards are moving a little bit off course now. They're not going quite where I wanted them to go. I was hoping they were going to keep in the Mulawati and carry on. But while I keep up with them, let's go across to Tayla McCurdy, who has hyenas apparently having a pool party.
Just presented for 5 minutes thinking that I was live, so I'm going to try and repeat exactly what I had said. But this is possibly the best, it's not possibly, it is the best sighting of my life when it comes to hyenas. It has been unbelievable, and it's a pity that the little ones have settled down now. Hopefully they pick up speed again and start playing around. But they're racing about, chasing one another through the long grass, and every now and then doing massive leaps and diving into the water, which is really funny. Here we go, they might go back in again, but they've been swimming around. They love the water. What have we got there? Here we go. One adult has found something, and of course the youngsters are coming in to see what it is. Might just be sense, but there's lots of hyenas coming back. It's quite a large clan. There were more of them around here. Let me see if I can count them quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then there's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's a whole lot coming behind us. So I think we're going to spend a bit of time here and watch these hyenas. There's probably more. They've all obviously split up and gone on their way last night looking for things to eat. Maybe they went and hunted together, but they're all coming back, and I presume that there's a den site around here. It's the perfect habitat for hyenas. They love water, especially on hot days, to cool down in. That's their favorite thing. They'll swim, they'll just lay up in water. It's not actually an uncommon sight. So I don't know what they were eating, but they definitely looked like there was something. Those little ones are actually running after the one that has got a chunk of flesh of sorts and is eating it now on the long grass. You can see if they're going to run away and expose what you've got there. No, still hiding in the grass. Oh wow, this was so amazing. MKL, you say the hyenas look so funny when they run. They do, and I think it's because it almost looks like their back legs have collapsed underneath them. But it's very important, the anatomy of a hyena and their design, as we know that they're built for speed, not for speed, for stamina, sorry. They can move very, very quickly. Darby was impressed this morning. There was one hyena that I don't know if he'd got a new pair of springs put in or something. He was racing around and taking corners quicker than I could and not slipping, which was amazing to see that too. I don't know why it was running like that, but maybe it just felt like going for a sprint. Was happy, but it was really cool to watch. So that sort of rocking horse motion that they have, very much like the wildebeest and the topi, the sloping back antelope, it helps keep up that speed, that stamina and that pace for quite a distance, which is amazing. Oh, I'm so sorry you didn't get to see them swimming. Maybe they'll come back and swim again. Oh my goodness, I promise you I was in absolute awe. Maybe I'll see if while you look at the hyenas if I can find a photo, and I'll show you what they were doing. It was really so cool. And the one, I can't believe how one just bomb dropped. Oh, wonderful. Yes, that would be nice if you were rolling. Hey, David. David very cleverly was recording all of it. So maybe there will be a hyena highlight of some sort, but I'll try and find a picture for you.
always look at them and go, no, they're not really that good. Where's one with everybody in the water? There's about 5 of them in the water at one point. Maybe they're going to come back. There's a... Oh, here we go. I think we will. Look, there's some more hyenas coming off to the left, and it looks like there's 1 or 2, or 3, actually, youngsters that have gone off with the adults and are making their return. They look filthy, too. Looks like they've eaten something. So maybe that the new hyenas... Well, they're not new. They're probably part of the same clan. Otherwise, we would have heard lots of squabbling. You know, like intruders. They're very much territorial in terms of their den sites. You wouldn't want unknown hyenas to come here. That wouldn't result in anything too good. But maybe that the other ones are coming back, they'll be full of beans and want to go diving in the water too. Here they go. Listen to all the sound. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 walking down there. So now I've got eyes on 23 hyena. There's more coming, 24. It's a never ending. It's a migration of hyenas, you know. It's great being here for the wildebeest and watching everything, but this is spectacular. This is really an unbelievable scene. Wow. I don't even know what to tell you. Look how fat that hyena is coming through the back there. I have actually seen quite a few hyenas. They're either suckling cubs or they are bearing little ones that have got oversized bellies almost touching the ground and very swollen mammary glands. But there could be some really young little ones that are just tucked away in the den. Not quite old enough to come out yet and socialize with the rest of the clan. But look at this. Can't wait to see the social dynamics here and find out who's more dominant. Now, so Jake, you're wondering what is my favorite fact about hyenas? Well, I quite like the fact that they are able to digest shards of bone and, you know, skin and hooves or keratin. That really just fascinates me because we know how tough all of those things are and nobody else really likes to eat them. It's really just the hyenas that will completely clean up a carcass. I mean, even the vultures to a point will still leave the skin. They'll pick clean, you know, between the bones where other animals maybe can't reach, but nothing will get rid of an entire carcass like hyenas. So I like that. I like the fact that they're able to digest every little bit. Those digestive enzymes that they have in their stomachs must be incredibly strong. I'd love to know if anybody has ever, you know, maybe extracted the digestive juices in the stomach or the contents in the stomach of a hyena and to see how acidic it is and how it actually breaks down all of the or whatever it is eaten. But we'll sit here for a little bit. I'm quite intrigued to see what else happens. Maybe we get them swimming again. I'm going to send you across to Jamie, who has got the lovely sausage tree pride.
The sausage tree pride, who are going to have to do their utmost to digest in a way that is as efficient as a hyena. They're all fat-bellied and very flat. But the reason that we are sitting patiently waiting to see what's going to transpire is for 2 reasons. One is that I kept seeing a jackal pair skulking around the edges of the kill. And 2 is that this lioness on the left, who's using the sort of the bushes as a pillow every now and again, she's been oddly unsettled. She keeps getting up and calling and then sitting down again and not roaring properly, but contact calling. And I can't quite figure out who she's trying to talk to because all 4 cubs are accounted for. Her pride mate is accounted for. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what it is that's unsettled her like this. She's sort of stopped now. Everyone else seems to be relaxed. Nobody is paying any attention to her at all. The rest of them are all lying in a puddle in the shade, looking totally unconcerned. So I'm really not 100% sure exactly what it is that's sparked that off. She's gone quiet now. She does have an injury on the back of her left leg. She's walking with a little bit of a limp and there's quite a lot of blood around her foot. I haven't been able to see exactly what it is. It's just that every time she steps, she puts it behind a clump of grass or something. So we've been trying, but we haven't been able to work out exactly what. but it's pretty much par for the course. Hunting is a dangerous thing for these lionesses. Zebra kick, they bite. Aslan, that is why, of course, lions are the way that they are and why they're so good at what they do. So Aslan's wondering about why is it that the lions are the only cats that have essentially evolved into being the only social cats out here. One, there's a couple of theories behind that. One is that the bigger the pride, the larger the prey that they can take down, and the higher success rate in terms of being able to raise cubs, because then by sticking in these related prides, they are actually able to allosuckle their cubs. It deals with a way of dealing with the male competition within quite a high resource ecosystem. So there's lots of males, there's lots of lions, there's lots of competition. So banding together helps them to hunt greater or bigger prey and keep their cubs well fed. Another theory is that it is in response to human beings. So the idea that we've actually evolved together, not completely in response to human beings, but human beings as a species have evolved as a hunter as well. And we are very effective social predators during the day, lions banding together as social predators and becoming almost completely strictly nocturnal. They do move around during the day here, but their body temperatures can't go up more than about a degree or two. As to why that makes them the only social cats, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a whole combination of really unique factors within African ecosystems as opposed to, let's say, Asian ecosystems. Because imagine a pride of tigers. It would be an utterly very impressive thing to see, but they don't need, the tigers are big enough and they eat a large amount, so they don't actually need to form together in these social structures. Leopards, small, secretive. I think we're understanding a huge amount. If you look at the social structure of cheetahs, in the way that those 5 musketeers have banded together, and that of course is to deal with competition and be able to establish a territory of their own and fight off other males. It's better to be in a group than it is to be on their own. But for the female cheetahs, there's no advantages to that. They're not really territorial, they're basically nomadic. And essentially, it pays for them to be on their own. But it is always something that's fascinated me, the way that circumstances have essentially created the social structures of the animals that we see. So from a very social cat to one that doesn't particularly like company at all, let's go back over to Tristan.
Well, our cats here who don't really like company are full of company at the moment, and Kuchava just ran all of a sudden. She went down the bank and shooting off into the Mulawati. She's now stopped, but look at how her posture is. She's watching what's going on very carefully. I don't know if she's seen either something to hunt or maybe she spotted another leopard. They did just mate, so there was a lot of noise that was made, and maybe if Tundi is around, she heard that and she thought, well, I'm going to come and see what's going on. So I don't know what's going on exactly, but you can see Kuchava's now running straight back towards where Tingana is. Tingana's lying in the shade just on my right hand side here, but she saw something for sure. I don't know what it was, but there was something, and you can see, look, she's quite hyped up now. She's striding and she's a little bit more kind of joggy and heading straight towards where Tingana is. So I wonder if maybe there's not another leopard here that could potentially be in this area. Interesting if there is. Now I've got to try and get to where they are because I'm sure she's going to try and initiate mating again. So hold on tight, everybody. This is going to be a rough, bumpy ride. So we're going to try get into a situation where we can at least see some semblance of her. You see, look, she's rubbing up on him, so I'm sure they're going to mate again. It's not going to be the best view, but you don't have a view. So she's trying her luck. She's trying to push up against him and trying to mate a little bit. Now I'm going to try go forward for Senzo just a little bit. There we go, Senzo, is that better? I know it's not great, but it's just there's a bush there and I can't go any further to my right. But she's watching. I'm sure there's another leopard here somewhere. The way that her demeanor has changed. She's become a lot more serious and is looking around. You can see she's presenting herself. So they will mate again now. I'm pretty sure of it. Even if Tingana doesn't want to, he's going to be forced into this because you can see, pushing herself all over the place. And there we go. Eventually it works. It always works. Awesome, guys. These two, when they mate, get quite feisty. It's quite amazing, actually, to watch them. And you'll find that they won't settle for too long now. There will be a bit of a sort of pause, and then up they go again. But B Smithy, you're asking if I'm sure I don't have Ali's magic lucky beans with me because of how much luck we've had over the last little bit. I don't. Like I say, it's one of those purple patches that we're going through. Also, just remember that it's just me out here at the moment, so I'm not sharing any of the area with any of the other presenters, and so when there's two of us, it makes the sightings have spread out a lot more than what we have now. So I'm just getting fortunate in that I'm able to, spend time with most of the sightings that we have. So it's just a lucky period. It's in no way anything else, and just got to enjoy the fact that we are being lucky at the moment, and take it as it goes, and really spend time enjoying the fact that we have got some luck. Now, I know Senzo's got a very poor view of Tingana at the moment, but he's just lying in the shade, and as soon as we kind of work things out, I'm sure he's going to get up and walk. Kuchava's disappeared. I can't see her now. She went down in towards a thicket, so as soon as he moves, then we'll be able to kind of get a better view of him. But you can see he's just behind that worry bush at the moment. It's not a great sighting, but you can see how well camouflaged he is when he is behind quarry bushes. So these are the perfect places for leopards to hide. And this is why I was saying earlier, when you come across on foot and you just see a bolt of color, it's difficult to make out that from behind those trees. So if he runs to the left, even on foot, you would battle to kind of see what exactly it was, because you're not going to see it that close. So it's interesting kind of how it all works with these guys and how well their camouflage goes. So I'm going to try and just go forward now that yours has moved a little bit for us, which is going to help us. So Frank, I'm sorry, Lou, you broke up a little bit. I just heard how long they'll stay in the area for, but I would imagine it's about mating. So in terms of mating, 2 to 3 days generally. 2 to 3 days they will generally mate, and in terms of staying in the area, they're not going to stay in the area. They're going to be moving the entire day, so up and down all over the place. As they mate, they move a few meters, then they stop, then they move a few meters, then they stop. So it's just a constant movement the whole day. We know that Kuchava is not a female that spends any time here. We're now right in the center of Djuma. We are 200 meters from Chelapan, so if any of you have maps and you know exactly where that is as center into Djuma as we could possibly be at this stage. So she is way out of where she's supposed to be, and that's probably why she's so nervous at the moment. So she's going to want to try and keep moving and to not let any of the other territorial females within this area find her, because obviously then she's got some sort of a threat. So she's going to keep moving, and she's going to want to try and drag him a little bit more towards her area and back towards Chitwa and those sort of sections. So it's going to not be here for long. She won't be on Djuma for an extended period. The thing is, though, is she's now seen Djuma, and she's going to have seen, hang on a second, there's an area here that's got beautiful territory. It's got the Mulawati, it's got great den sites, and that might mean that she will want to push into this area to try and take over, and that's going to be an interesting process. So even though she's being dragged here and out of her territory, in a way it's also showing her there is a sort of section in this area, and the good thing about that is that she's a young female. She's not a female that's very old, and as much as Tundi and Shadow probably will be with us for a few years still to come, once they pass on, because they will eventually, then it means that a younger female has now seen this area and will maybe want to push into this section, and we then get a young female back in our particular traverse, which is what we want. We want younger females around, because younger females mean that we'll have many years with them, and their cubs generally then will be born on Djuma, and we'll see a lot more leopard in this particular area. David, you're wondering if Tingana would protect Kuchava and prevent Tandi from attacking her while they mate? No. So Tingana is not going to get involved with the ladies. He's going to leave the ladies to settle their own disputes and sort themselves out. And what he'll do is that he'll just kind of probably be quite aggressive towards both of them. And you'll find that either Kuchava is going to run and get out of here, or two of them, Kuchava is going to stand her ground and they're going to move off, and Tandi is just going to leave it and let it carry on, or she's going to try and chase Kuchava out, and they then separate, and Tandi will end up with Tingana. And what you might find sometimes is that Tandi might just present herself as in a false estrus, just to try and get rid of Kuchava and then mate with Tingana. But I've also seen where two females mated with the same male, which was really quite weird at the same time. So they would actually just lie on either side of each other, and it was Karula. So Karula and Salahesh mated with Tingana, and they both lay on either side of him. He lay in between, and he mated with both females repeatedly over a course of 2 days, and the two females followed him, separated and growling and hissing and carrying on at each other, but they didn't come to blows, and they both mated, and then they separated out and off they went, which was a crazy sighting. So it's just the dynamics between these guys is interesting, and it changes on depending on the individuals. I would imagine Tandi and Kuchava, if Tandi found her here now, being that she's a little bit injured and she's a bit grumpy and this is a newish territory for her herself, will be quite aggressive towards Kuchava and try and chase her. And Kuchava will know that that's Mom. Mom is more experienced, Mom is bigger, she's stronger, and she's going to then chase me away, and so she'll probably be still nervous of that mother figure and know that Mom is powerful, even though Kuchava, as I see her now, has more bulk than what Tandi's got, and it looks as though she's even bigger than what Tandi is. So it's an interesting kind of play on dynamics. That will change as she starts to get cubs and starts to settle herself. Then she'll start to become more kind of confrontational towards Tandi or whoever other female leopard was around at that stage. Heather, they won't stay together after mating. You'll find they'll separate. In fact, in the next couple of days, they're going to separate. You'll have a situation where Tingana is going to grow tired of this. Kuchava is also out of her territory. She will want to head back. So we'll end up with a situation that they are going to split fairly soon. So it's a good thing, and hopefully we'll find a situation where it will be an amicable split in terms of Kuchava not bumping into Tandi and she heads back towards Chitwa, and hopefully it's a successful mating that she falls pregnant and we see them then on Chitwa again. But she's coming back to Tingana, so I'm sure we're going to have a situation where they're going to mate again. There we go. So you hear her growling. Now she's presenting herself again, as she likes to do. Yeah, she kind of pushes her. And off they roll again. Tingana lying down. He's seen another vehicle coming in, that's why he's a little bit jumpy. And she's just watching what's going on. But very cool to see. We're being spoiled by what's going on. And you see, she took her cue from him. He, I think, wants to lie down. I think he's tired, he's hot, and he wants to find some shade, and so he's happy to lie right here. Whereas I think Kuchava wants to just mate, and that's going to frustrate Tingana. He's going to have to keep moving and finding little pockets of shade to lie down. There you go. You see, he's going to walk, and she'll follow. As soon as he walks, she's going to follow. There we go. Not going to let him out of her sight just yet. She wants to maximize this opportunity, this short period that she's in estrus. She wants to maximize it. Rebecca, a male, how do we put this? He is a bit of another story. He will mate as much as he possibly can with as many females as possible. So he does not mind at all how many females it is. He will try and go after as many females as is absolutely possible. So whether it be 21, doesn't matter. He will get as many females in his territory as he can, because that's going to mean that he is going to be a successful individual, and he's going to produce more cubs, and he's going to spread his genes further over the area. So he definitely is going to try and mate with as many females. Tingana, I'll just give you a list of the females that this man has mated with since I've known him. He's mated with Moya, he's mated with Insele, he's mated with Kotile, he's mated with Salesh, Shadow, Tandi, Kuchava, Inkanyeni, Shaluva before he ate her. Who else am I missing? I'm just trying to think of the younger females that were around back in the day as well. That's it as far as I can think of. Yes, those are just them. So 9 different females that he's mated with in his life, and repeatedly. I might have missed 1 or 2, maybe I have, but those are at least 9 of them, which is a lot of female leopards to have mated with and to have produced offspring with. Now, the number of cubs that he's produced is anyone's guess, because like I say, we don't really know the paternity of a lot of these leopards. We're in a situation where a lot of the paternal sort of traits, while there's visible signs of them, it's not always the case that that is the father. So we and they have different fathers in cub litters, so difficult to know how many cubs he's produced, but he will mate with as many females as possible, and every time there's a new female that comes into heat, he will try and go after them. Right, we're going to sit here and enjoy this because it's just the most magical sighting, and while we do that, let's go across to Jamie bumbling about the Mara.
It certainly seems as though Tingana is living up to his reputation as a proper ladies' man. But we've left our lionesses for now, and our male lion, just because the lioness that was calling, she went back to sleep. Everybody was fast asleep, no sign of the jackals. So I've decided to come and try and find that hyena den again. It was off-road, and I did GPS the coordinates, so I know roughly where I'm going. The problem is trying to get as close as possible without just cruising on off-road, and this particular area is just a maze of little 2 tracks and little roads. Let me just double check myself. I feel like I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm not going in the wrong direction, but I'm not going in the right, exactly the right direction either. I want to be there, that way. Okay, we'll take our first right and see how we go. Lots of zebra around. Otherwise, very quiet. I suspect that Tayla and Dave must have been absolutely freezing last night. It really was chilly. And they were out for most of the night, as far as I know. Let me just concentrate on trying to get to where I want to be, because I think I actually found 2 dens, but I'm not 100% sure on the second one. I suppose that is Manu. Another lion-shaped bush. Yeah. Agreed? Not a lion. Ah. Now, the amazing thing about this particular area is the sheer size of the hyena clans. And Heather, you wondering about that, and obviously it plays into the way that they den in a similar area. So Heather, the hyena clans here can number between 50 to 100. They really are massive. The North Clan, that's the den side that we're trying to get to, although now I'm going in completely the wrong direction, which is very frustrating.